is up, Soul Family? I got a nice little video for y'all today about an interesting concept that doesn't really get talked about. Um, because most people speak of, well, as you can see from the title, I got a quite an interesting title, How to Die Every Day. You probably like, what do you mean? You know what I'm saying? And this death is an esoteric death. It's not physical. You're not dying every day and shit physically. Um, what I mean by dying is like allowing, like this death refers to like an ego death, basically. Like who you think you are, the key word here is think, you know what I'm saying? Like when you think of yourself, there's two modes of experiencing. Well, there's one mode of experiencing the self, but you can get caught up in a certain idea about yourself that has certain attributes, and with that certain attribute you're like not something else or whatever. Like you could be handsome, but like if you're handsome or whatever, or if you pretty, you can't be ugly or some shit. But like what I'm saying, like with that mode of thinking, like the thinking of what the self is like completely different from the actually experiencing yourself outside of the mind. Like yeah, you could describe yourself. Like I could describe, I got dreads, I'm light skinned, you know what I'm saying? My name's Elijah or whatever. uh, but on an experiential level, like without those attributes, I'm not fully experiencing myself. Like I could say, yeah, I'm Elijah, but what does that mean? What does it mean to be Elijah? Like, you know what I'm saying? What does it mean for me to be, I don't know, intelligent? Or what does it mean for me to be an artist? What does it mean for me to be a painter? What does it mean for me to be a businessman or some shit? Like any number of things, like, and how the matrix works is like this world from birth gives you a name and it gives you a title and it gives you things you are and things you aren't, and there's no like in between. There's like you are these things, and this is like all you are basically. And that's how you get caught up in the matrix. But when you go into a meditative state and you basically let your ego rest for a little while, you can actually experience your true spiritual self, what the Egyptians would call your ba, or your spirit body. And you could begin to tap into the yin realm of things. You could tap into the hidden aspect of yourself. I actually wrote a diagram of this. This will be on Wednesday, but hopefully you can see this. Let me turn this down here. Okay, camera focused. It's not focusing, but like the yang realm is the physical, like the realm of flesh, Malkuth, and the yin realm is the realm of Yesod, the spiritual, the astral. Yesod on the tree of life is actually Yesod on the tree of life is actually the moon, and the moon is intuition, the hidden, the subconscious. But the subconscious in this context, in relation to Malkuth, is the hidden realm, the spiritual realm. So here's like a diagram that kind of encapsulates the essence of your being in your entirety, right? So in the Matrix, or as I think it's the Hindus called like Maya, the illusion, everything that you think you are, everything that relates to you, every expression of you in the yang realm and the physical is only like, as you can see from this diagram, 10% of your being. I mean, our awareness is fully, like pretty much fully encapsulated in the yang realm. Like we're looking directly. You say, oh, I smell, you know what I'm saying? Or however the fuck you sense. Like, and you could sense, however, like that, oh shit, like I'm in a body, so like this is it, like this is it. But once you begin to hone your spiritual senses, and like, let's say, like, theoretically, like, you close your eyes in this diagram, you could begin to sense the rest of your body, the rest of your being in the yin realm, um, beyond space and time, the non-localized part of your being, the part of your being that is it, infinite. You're completely infinite, but you're expressing yourself in a finite space. So it could kind of be like, oh, well, I'm finite. But once you kind of close your eyes in this diagram, you could sense the rest of your body, which is like your aura and shit like that. But the reason I showed you that is to give you like a perspective of like why you should go through an ego rest or an ego death every day. Basically, in this diagram, when you're interacting with your inner, when you're strongly putting energy, intention, attention into your personality, you're strongly making connections in the yang realm. Like, let's say, for instance, and I was experiencing this yesterday. If I'm scrolling through Instagram, right, and I see something that pisses me off, it pisses my personality off, right? The personality Elijah, who doesn't like whatever just was shown to me. I'm, through the mode of my personality, through the mode of my mindset, am creating an emotional attachment to something in the outer world, in the yang realm. Therefore, every time I see something like that, let's say for our example of Instagram, every time I see something like that on Instagram, it's going to create a mental, emotional response out of me, which, how I envision it in my mind, is like an attachment, like a literal, like a string or like a rope or a chain that you've basically initiated between you and the object of your focus in the outer world. And the intermediary between these things is your personality. So when you just go about like putting so much attention and so much passion and energy into your personality, you begin to create attachments in the physical world that begin, and after a while, begin to chain you down or like drag you down. And they basically, your frequency just because you're becoming more worldly, pretty much. You have a lot of worldly attachments. So basically, you're just of the world. You're supposed to be in the world and not of the world. um so that's why and this is something I've just noticed just on my spiritual path. And the whole point of this video is like to get people to be like, hey, this not focusing, but like, there's more. There's more, even though you can't see it and you can't make like a personality attachment to it, because it's beyond space and time. Like how I see the spiritual world, the realm of the spirit, the realm of spirits, the realm of like Anubis, the realm of all these spiritual forces, is like, or how I see like you, insights into the nature of God, right? How I see it is like to glimpse the other side of the nature of God is like a black hole. It's completely unknown what's on the other side. The only way to experience your true self, or to break that barrier and go beyond Malkuth, is basically, in like, if there was a black hole, you have to go through the event horizon and you have to just experience God for yourself, because it's greater than the localized personality, mind, emotion complex that is of this world. So it's just like the goal of every prophet, the goal of every yogi, the goal of every spiritual teacher, the goal of me, the goal of your mama, your daddy, whatever the fuck, who's trying to get information on God to you. The challenge is like, you, like, every yogi must enter the event horizon where no words can describe. Like you're every yogi has to fathom, has to go into the unfathomable, realize that they are the unfathomable, and come back to the realm of things you could fathom. Like I could fathom this, right? Like I can say this is black. My mic is that's probably fucking up the audio, so I'm not gonna use that as an example. I could say like I could fathom this, you know, it's white. I could write with it and shit, and like I could fathom this basically. So like the goal of every yogi is to like go into the unfathomable, come back to the fathomable, and be like, "Hey, yo, there's more. there's more than this. There's more than this. There's a hidden portion that is the field, as I call it. I call it the field of, or I call it the possibility probability nexus, or I call it the probability, or possibility probability field, and or nexus or whatever the fuck." I was having so much trouble saying that. But people call this the field. People call this like the collective energy field, or what else are what other words are there for it? I don't know, like the infinite energy field, the realm of God, whatever. Um, the goal of every yogi is to basically glimpse beyond space time, and to clear or get a sight of their true self. So, with that in mind, it's important to, how I consider it is like breathing in and out of the personality, allowing a cycle of being more in the personality and a cycle of being less in, like just letting your ego, letting your mind rest. The goal is to, yeah, you know, like since you're in a physical body, you have to eat, you have to go to work probably, you have to do things, you have to see people, you have to talk about Netflix or whatever the fuck, or the latest football game. You have that, but you're also, the goal is to also, when you're by yourself, when you're away from your earthly attention grabbers, you close yourself off to earthly attachments, and you glimpse into the nature of yourself. You turn inwards, and you basically find the source of all being within yourself. You find the source within yourself. You find the spirit around you and also in within you. And rule number one is know thyself. Knowing thyself is the basis of all knowledge. But knowing thyself isn't just thinking that you know. Like, oh, I think I'm this, I think I'm that, I think I'm a good father, I think I'm a good mother, I think I'm a good handyman, I think I'm a good writer, whatever. It's an intimate experiencing of the whole non localized self beyond the mind, beyond ideas. And this is the basis of enlightenment or whatever. And um, one thing I found interesting, like on my path, like because like my path like is quite intimately tied in with the physical. Like why else would I be here, right? Like except for me like wanting to give this information to you, the viewer. If not, you know, I'd just be out somewhere not in a body. um so basically I was noticing like, well, I can't fully just all the time be in the bosom of God, I guess you could say, or the but like in the spirit, just not thinking any thoughts or whatever. Like Eckhart Tolle to me is unbalanced because that's like all he does. Like he doesn't like do anything else. He can't, you know what I'm saying? Like he probably reads and shit, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like he's so fully just in the yin that it's like Well, shit, why you in the body or whatever? Like, I'm just saying that from my perspective because like my path is different from his path. I'm not shitting on Eckhart Tolle. uh, but I find that like, especially if you have like relationships or something like that, it's healthy to, yeah, when you're with people or whatever, or like when you have a job to do, like I look at this as kind of like my job, like, but like not even a job. I don't know. This is my passion. This is like my purpose. This is what I love doing. But I have to interact with your mind through the medium of my personality and through the medium of like what I know. So I have to be in my localized mind, to basically get an idea to you of the unfathomable. So I realized that instead of being too far into your personality, which would create like unrest, like I'll give you two examples, right? So like someone who's breathing, giving too much attention, intention, too much emotion to their personality would be very worldly, would be very swayed by the world. They probably couldn't sit still with themselves for long periods of time because they find it uncomfortable to be in the unfathomable, to be silent, to be beyond the mind. And this is a person we would call like a sleeper, like a zombie, or like someone who's asleep, or like an NPC, a non-playable character, because they're allowing their mind to lead them. They're allowing their mind to be them or whatever the fuck. And to them, there's nothing outside of the mind. So they can't sit still. They can't be with themselves and meditate type shit. One thing I find interesting about being super into the yin and just allowing my personality to dissolve is like when I get around people, it's just like my I've taken so much away from my personality that I'm like so detached from whatever the fuck's going on, and it's like it could be kind of like awkward dealing with people type shit, or like it may lead like social anxiety or some shit. um, so I find it like, or you may be like if you see Osho, right? Like if you search up Osho on YouTube, like he's basically just like he's super yin realm, right? But he's just like just no expression, just no liveliness. He's just like, and I know all, and I know God, but like with no personality. I'm like, well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but I find it healthy and I find it fun and I find it expressive and kind of, because to me life is art, so I find it beautiful, um to kind of like breathe into the personality at times, like I'm doing now. Breathe into the personality and like let it express, let myself be expressed and let my knowledge be expressed and whatnot. But to also like once this video is done, I'm just gonna like just meditate. I'm gonna just allow my personality to die in a sense, or to rest, and I'm gonna just be zen. I'm gonna just meditate or do energy work or some shit, move energy around the body or yoga or whatever. And I find this to be like a healthy balance. And once like when I realized this, I was like, well, this could really solve my problems, because yeah, I have things to do in the physical, yet also I don't want to forget my spiritual self. You know what I'm saying? So just finding a balance in between the two, finding a balance between Malkuth, finding a balance between Malkuth and Yesod is is a is can be sometimes a tricky thing to do, but is vital for your mental health, your emotional and therefore your spiritual well-being. Um, a good way to understand this is finding the balance between the need to take action and the need for allowing things to happen, or producing and receiving. you know um, when you kind of at least understand this concept, it kind of becomes intuitive to begin to be like, okay, is it time for me to breathe more into my personality and be more lively or whatever, express myself through the medium of my personality? Or is it time for me to step back, be in my hermit energy, and just pay attention to the inner world and the spirit around me? And the way to like know which side to be in at a time is to first understand that this is a cycle, understanding that you should make this cyclical. We're made in the image of God, right? So we're made in the image of nature, and nature works off cycles. So allow your personality to work in a cycle. And that's where the title of this video comes from: learn how to die every day. Make it a daily cycle of you, or just however you work, however your cycle operates. Just throughout the day, just let your personality rise, let it fall, let it rise, let it fall. Um, since like sun is masculine and moon is more feminine, you know, during the day you could work on whatever project you got going on, talk with whoever you got to talk with or whatever, and do whatever you got to do in regards like to your personality, get some work done, you know what I'm saying, or whatever y'all do. I don't know. And as it turns more nighttime, you could make it natural for you to just reserve and meditate, energy work, read, do some things where you're receiving yoga or whatever. But these are just some examples. Some days during the day you may just want to meditate, and that's what you need to heal at that time or whatever. Um, so yeah, I think with an understanding of you are more than your body, you're more than your mind, and you're more than the ideas in your mind, and an understanding that you could breathe in and out of the personality, and that the personality, a healthy, and knowing that you are made in the image of God or of nature, understanding the nature of cycles, your cycles, and even the cycles of like the world. You can relate your cycle to the cycle of the world with the sun and moon. You can begin to understand how to have a healthy relationship with your personality and to also stay in alignment with spirit at the same time. So you could be able to do your divine life purpose on earth, yet also be guided by spirit on the other side. There is no other side, but like it's good for like diagrams and explaining shit. Yeah, that's pretty much the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, thumbs up, and if you had an interesting comment, um, feel free. Don't be afraid to say it in the comments below. But other than that, I'll check you all later, and I'll see y'all Wednesday. Um, Peace out.